Uh, Hi, everybody. Just to begin, I'd like to invite President Eva Clayton up from the Nisg to provide some opening remarks.
Collier, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Collier.
It's all you. Good to see you.
Before I say a word of prayer to the Creator for presenting us with a momentous occasion like today, I would like to first of all pay tribute to the three nations, Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh nations for allowing us to be on their unceded lands at this time. So thank you to the chiefs and matriarchs of those nations. I'd like to offer an opening prayer to the Creator at this time. En zappel, wie is met laatst gun, dim rend op de achterktum, saamskeert kom, lag en niet zocht gun, het laatst dat hem ooit goed, het wilbagom, ieder op de oors en zo meen is de neritje, sim gegeert zich de manach en de naksel, maar het laatst gun en Willem is gun, het zat gun, de oors op niet zo meen de gunat, nee gilm scharet laam het zat gun, het gun eilig uit wat meen Jesus Christ hem ran wilt, Amsterdam. Thank you.
Thanks very much for starting us off in a good way. Appreciate that. Obviously, that wasn't President Eva Clayton. It's nice to see you, Madam President. It's great to be here with you today. I'll join in acknowledging the territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. I'm joined here today by Energy and Climate Solutions Minister Adrian Dixon, Minister of the Environment, Tamara Davidson. Great to see you both here today. And all of our friends from the Nisg, great to see you. Thank you for making the journey to join us here today. The Nisg people are a remarkable and dramatic example of strength and resilience and fortitude, and their work in government and in economic development is a testament to that, and I wanted to recognize that. This particular project that we're going to be talking about today, the Ksi Lisims project, is a great example of it. I'm very proud to stand with you, Nisg people, and support your work and the direction that you want to take for your people and for your community. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I think for many British Columbians, the reality is setting in that President Trump is committed to attacking the Canadian economy, the BC economy, our forest sector, and that a traditional ally and partner is no longer there for us in the way that we came to expect and understand would be the case for generations past and generations to come. The time has come, though. There is a silver lining to this, that this is an opportunity for us to stand on our own 2 feet, for us as a country and as a province to build on our strengths and stand independently and to do the work that is needed to provide for not just for ourselves today, but for generations of Canadians and British Columbians to come. That work of building our economy nationally is being led from British Columbia. When you look at the work that we are doing on developing our clean electricity projects in partnership with Indigenous people with benefits for entire regions, ensuring that we use that resource, that low-cost resource, to drive economic activity in our province. A great example. The natural resources we have. I was at Highland Valley Copper the other day, talking about thousands of construction jobs, thousands of ongoing permanent jobs, and a mine expansion there worth literally billions of dollars to the BC and Canadian economy. Providing training for skilled workers, apprenticeships. Our apprentice numbers are at record highs, and they will continue to grow as we provide the next generation with the skills to take advantage of the opportunities that our government is working to provide. And all of this done, we're doing it the right way, in partnership with First Nations, finding ways to drive down carbon pollution while building up our economy. That's how you build an economy the right way, and today's announcement, an excellent example of that. Ksi Lisims shows us what the future looks like. This project will create 800 jobs during construction, more than 200 jobs ongoing at the site, $17 billion in contribution to the Canadian economy over the lifetime of the project. It will help young people build a future in the Northwest. It creates education, training, and other opportunities that wouldn't exist in the absence of this project. It helps keep Nisga'a people on their land, connected to their communities with employment and cultural opportunities that would not otherwise be there. It provides revenue for all British Columbians for what we know we need: expansions in healthcare, education, and critical services. All of it done using BC's clean electricity to drive down carbon pollution and produce some of the cleanest low-carbon LNG anywhere in the world, LNG that we know is in demand from major trading partners that we want to deepen our relationships with: Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and others. This is another step to diversify our markets to ensure that we are less reliant on the United States. I'll tell you this: British Columbians are not going to stand by and watch Donald Trump build a dirty LNG facility on the coast of Alaska when we have the opportunity to build a low-carbon LNG facility in partnership with Indigenous people in a way that provides billions of dollars for Canadians and British Columbians. We are going to build this country, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to make sure that it is Canadian products making it to market, supporting Canadians. All of that context is to help explain why I'm so thrilled for the Nisga'a people. They have worked hard to get to this stage, and I am very proud to announce that the EA, the Environmental Assessment Certificate, has been issued for the Ksi Lisims project, which means that the project is moving forward, and the only final hurdle for the Nisga'a is a final investment decision for them and their partners. This project is a win across the board for everyone. It's a win for the Nisga'a Nation. It's a win for workers and families across the region. It's a win for British Columbians and Canadians with the revenue that it will bring in for all of the services that we need. It's a win for a global transition to lower carbon fuels. And I want to thank President Eva Clayton for her work, for her team's work on this. I'm very proud to be in your corner. I'm excited for what's ahead. And we're moving towards a brighter future for all British Columbians and Canadians. Thank you very much.
Good morning. It is indeed a very happy day for the Nisga'a Nation, and for not only for the Nisga'a, but for BC, Canada, and the Indigenous people. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Nisga'a Treaty. The treaty gives us constitutionally protected rights over our lands and lays out a pathway toward our goal of economic independence. While we've made important progress, the Nisga'a people, like many First Nations, continue to struggle with hardship, hopelessness that come from a lack of opportunity and prosperity. So more than 10 years ago, we chose a new path. We set out to bring an LNG project to our treaty lands, a project that could ultimately become the heartbeat of a thriving local economy. From the very beginning, we were clear. This project would be subject to our own rigorous review, and we would not proceed with it unless it met our nation's environmental standards. Today I am happy to confirm that Ksi Lisims LNG has not only passed the BC and Canadian assessment process, one of the most rigorous in the world, but that it also meets the Nisg Nation's high expectations. Ksi Lisims LNG is a project our nation is proud to be co-developing with our partners. As BC and Canada work to retool our economy, Indigenous nations all across Canada are playing a central role. We don't need to resist change if we are the ones shaping it. We can honor our traditional lands by building a future for our children on our lands. Ksi Lisims LNG is the kind of investment nations need, designed with our priorities at its core, and ready to deliver long-term opportunities for our communities. We are grateful for the nations across northern BC working with us to make this project a success. Today, the BC, Canadian, and Nisg governments are standing together to show the world that large-scale energy projects can meet the highest environmental standards, can contribute to global emission reductions, can help our allies overseas, and can leave lasting positive impacts for those who need them the most. We have a lot of work still left to do, but today marks an important milestone to our journey. Thank you to Premier Eby, Minister Dix, Minister Davidson, and to our treaty partners in Ottawa for your support for this nation-building project. But just as importantly, thank you to the generations of Nisg leaders who, against all odds, were able to secure the first modern treaty in BC a quarter of a century ago. A landmark agreement that enables us to stand strong and uplift our nation, and indeed Canada, as we build a more prosperous future together. And together we can do it, because Canadians do matter. We will always matter. Likewise with the British Columbians. We all matter. And this opportunity is key, as Premier Eby has set out. It's very important that we move together, and we will continue to move together with our treaty partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Clayton. We're now going to take some questions from the media. From all media on the line, please remember to press *1 to enter the queue and to unmute yourself when you're called upon. And all members of the media will have one question and one follow-up. We're going to start on the phone lines with Richard Zussman from Global News. Go ahead, Richard.
Premier, thank you so much for taking my question. The Conservatives have sent out a press release this morning about the contract that your government has provided to Charlie Demers. Can you explain why it's necessary to have a stand-up comedian writing speeches for you at a time when your government is trying to reduce its contract? And do you get a discount if the jokes bomb?
Thanks, Richard. Charlie is one of a group of speechwriters. Today, for example, I'm delivering 5 speeches. I would love to be able to write my own speeches the way that I used to, but I do need support to be able to respond to each event that I go to. Speechwriters are a necessary part of the job. Mr. Demers, to date, his entire contract has been worth $14,000, and he is available as needed for events. And I appreciate his assistance, the assistance of all his speechwriters. But I'll say this, for the Premier's office, for every ministry in government, for our health authorities. We are all working to drive down administrative costs. We've reduced the public service in size by 850 full-time equivalents. We have more work to do. We are ensuring that we are reducing administrative costs across government, and doing that while we are protecting frontline services for British Columbians. Now, I know that British Columbians saw our Q1 results and recognize the need for us to reduce government costs. But that alone will not be sufficient. We also have to grow our economy. That's what today's announcement is about. That's what the Highland Valley Copper announcement is about. That's what all of our major project work is about. We're going to grow our economy. We're going to bring the deficit down. We're going to reduce waste within the health authorities and administrative costs within government. And we're going to ensure we're delivering for British Columbians a prosperous future.
Do you have a follow-up for the Premier, Richard?
I noticed you didn't answer the part about the jokes bombing,
Well,
but I'm going to ask
bombed yet,
about
Richard.
I'm going to ask about what's happening amongst the Conservative caucus. There have been some allegations brought up in the media around some questionable membership purchases for the Conservative Party. Do you believe there needs to be some type of independent investigation? You know, your party, when you ran for leader, had similar membership issues, although dealt with differently. Does there need to be a different system around ensuring that there is proper rules when it comes to buying memberships for political parties?
Well, Richard, first of all, let me reject the equivalency out of the gate. My leadership campaign, there were no concerns raised about our membership signups. We conducted ourselves with integrity. It's my expectation of every single member of our government that they engage themselves with integrity in a way that is defensible to the public of British Columbia. What we are seeing from the Conservatives is the leader of that party alleged to be involved in a large-scale fraud, buying multiple memberships, using virtual private network software to access, to create the impression that they're located in Iran. Just unbelievable allegations coming out. They are not fit to govern. These are the same individuals that British Columbians will remember well when they called themselves BC Liberals. Now they call themselves BC Conservatives. The scandals are the same. It is equally outrageous now as it was then. They are not fit to govern. And their conduct is, well, it's consistent. Let's put it that way.
Thank you, Premier. Next, we'll head to Alec Lazenby from the Vancouver Sun. Go ahead, Alec.
Hi, Premier. For my first question, I just wanted to ask you about the Q1 results yesterday. Obviously, an $11.6 billion deficit. When you came into office in November 2022, you inherited it was projected at that time, but a projected $5.7 billion surplus. Do you want to just talk through maybe how we got from there to here in terms of inheriting $5.7 billion in the black, and now we're $11.6 billion in the red?
Yeah, thanks, Alec. The budget results reflect a few things, one of which is the huge impact that resource prices have on the economy in British Columbia. Coming out of COVID, we saw record high prices for timber, for natural gas, for other resources, really assisting the provincial budget. That is not the case today. Record low prices for timber, record low prices for natural gas, and the royalties that come to the province as a result affected. We have also seen in the interim Donald Trump's trade war against Canada, creating huge uncertainty, not just for businesses, but for families about major investments. Do we buy a place right now? Where should we put our money right now? And people are being extremely cautious. And we're seeing that reflected in the results as well. Significant revenue line items for government, including the sale of homes, down quite dramatically. And at the same time, we've seen a massive increase in population and a huge increase in demand for critical services, education, healthcare. At a moment like this, the government faces a choice. Do we cut frontline services for British Columbians? Or do we find other ways to make sure that we're headed to balance and supporting those frontline services for British Columbians? Our choice is clear, and I want to make it clear for British Columbians. We're going to protect those frontline services that they depend on, that their families depend on. We're going to cut the waste out of the health authorities. We're already doing it. reducing the size of the public service, addressing administrative waste within the public service without affecting those frontline services that everybody depends on. And we're going to grow our economy. You'll see that in today's announcement, in the Highland Valley Copper announcement, and more announcements to come. My expectation is, in the next 6 to 12 months, that our province will be able to truly demonstrate billions and billions of dollars in private sector investments in our province that will assist us in turning this corner, but we won't do it at the expense of British Columbians.
Do you have a follow-up, Alec?
Yes, I don't think anybody could have predicted what's happened over the last 8 months, but at the same time, do you wish you had kept some of that surplus for, a rainy day such as this? I know this is, a tropical storm, not just a rainy day, but do you wish you had kept some of that money in reserve for something like this?
Yeah, unfortunately, Alec, that's not the way budgets work. They're reported on an annual basis, and so the surplus in 1 year can't be carried over to a future year. One of the investments, I want to give you an example of how we use some of that surplus, went to the Rental Protection Fund. That fund, which is operated by a third party, has protected hundreds and hundreds of units of affordable rental housing across the province. Delivering our commitment around affordable housing at a time when government budgets are obviously strained. We have to be creative like that and find ways to address the concerns of British Columbians, whether it's around affordability, by keeping ICBC rates low, by keeping hydro rates low and affordable compared to what people are seeing in other provinces. But also making sure that we're addressing issues of housing in ways that support affordability. We see rents down almost 10% in many parts of the province. And we've got more work to do on that front as well. We also want to get people into home ownership, and we'll have more to say about that going forward. It is a challenge in tight fiscal times, as our government and many governments around the world are facing with a slowing global economy, to be able to deliver that, but we will deliver for British Columbians.
Next, we'll head to Wolf Deppner from the Canadian Press. Go ahead, Wolf.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Thank you for taking my question. Premier, I want to ask you about this project. Your government claims buy-in from First Nations, but not all First Nations in the area have given their consent. How much does their refusal to consent to this project undermine your argument that your government has buy-in from First Nations? Thank you.
Thanks, Wolf. There's still work ahead for Nisg and their partners with neighboring First Nations to ensure that everybody sees the benefits of this project. And I have great faith in President Clayton and her team and their the open spirit of engagement that they've committed to with their neighbors to be able to deliver that. At the same time, we want to make sure that we're moving forward with projects. We absolutely, for British Columbians, for Canadians, need to deliver major projects like this that are worth billions of dollars, hundreds of people employed. In the case of some of our mines, thousands of people employed, to do two things. One is to make sure that we are less dependent on the United States and that the impacts of the Trump tariffs and others are felt less in our province and in our country. And the other is to make sure that we're delivering prosperity, not just in the region where these projects are, but right across Canada and right across the province of British Columbia. We need these projects to be able to deliver the services that people depend on. So I am convinced, because we've done it before and we can do it again, that we can get to a place where there is support from nations across the project. We'll be working with the Nisg to do our best to achieve that, and we need to keep going.
Follow-up, Wolf?
Yes, I do. Thank you. We've heard yesterday that some of the people, or at least one of the companies involved in this project, has connections to the Trump administration, direct financial connections to the Trump administration. Again, how much do these connections undermine your argument that this project is a response to the Trump tariffs? Thank you.
Yeah, not at all. If you want to invest in British Columbia, you want to build here, you want to create jobs here and prosperity for British Columbians and Canadians, we welcome you. This is a crucial message for global investors right now in terms of making sure that we're creating jobs and opportunity. Welcoming and encouraging international investment in British Columbia is a key part of our strategy. Those investors, regardless of their political affiliation, could invest anywhere. They could bring their money to other places. They've decided to bring it here to British Columbia to create jobs and opportunity for the Nisga'a people, for British Columbians, and for Canadians. and it's our commitment. That's our commitment to British Columbians. We're going to do that to increase prosperity, more jobs for British Columbians, strong Canadian currency, so that Canadians can afford what they need to help drive down costs. We've got to do this work, and you know, I'm excited about this project. I'm excited about other major projects. I'm excited about Anglo Tech locating their head office here in British Columbia, the largest company ever to locate in our province, and we're pushing in the right direction. We got to keep going, though.
Next, we'll head to Rob Shaw from Czech News. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, hi, Premier. Just back to the Canadian thing. The argument in the Conservative release today is that, you know, basically you should use one of the 200 people in government communications or the many people in your office to write your speeches without the need to award a contract with a maximum value of up to $450,000 over the next 3 years. So I just wondered if you could sort of respond to that, and if you are willing to consider altering that depending on the way that this lands amongst nurses and government workers and other people who are going to look at this and go, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, the value of the contract to date, Rob, is $14,000. We do use contractors because it allows us to reduce costs sometimes. And in this case, $14,000 for a speechwriter is not quite as sensational as the headline that the Conservatives are using. With respect to overall government administration costs, communications costs, Premier's office costs, in the Premier's office, we are reducing our expenditure just like every other ministry. You got to lead by example. We're doing that in the Premier's office. In government communications, we are reducing expenditure there, including staffing. We've reduced the public service by 850 people since we began this work. We've got more work to do, and we're working with health authorities as well to reduce administration costs. And so we're going to continue to do that work while we're supporting those frontline workers that everybody depends on.
Follow-up, Rob?
Sure. Back to the financial results. I remember during the election you were talking about showing eventually a path to balance. There's no path in the financial results yesterday. There's 3 years of worsening deficits. Can you sort of update us on, do you think there's a path back to balance for the budget? And if so, how many years do you think that's going to take?
Yes, we will deliver a path back to balance for British Columbians. There's two components to it. The work that we're doing to reduce administration and waste in the public service and health authorities to focus those resources on frontline services. Second component is about coordinating government better. We need to be able to deliver services to British Columbians in the way that they expect, in the way that is easily accessible, that is fast and efficient, and leverages technology. That work is also happening about restructuring how we deliver services more efficiently across government. And I'm very excited about that work as well. The last component isn't about reducing the size of government, it's about increasing the size of the economy so that we're able to deliver these services. We have a significantly growing population. We have a significantly aging population. The demands on our healthcare system, long-term care, education system are only going to intensify. We can't stop building schools to make sure kids have a good place to learn. We can't stop building the hospitals that are needed to support British Columbians in fast-growing areas of the province. We can't reduce expenditure on transit that people need to get to work and to relieve congestion on our roads. So that leaves only one possibility, that we grow the economy. Today's announcement, an excellent example of what we're talking about. $17 billion in value for the Canadian economy over the life of this project. The Highland Valley Copper announcement, almost 2,000 ongoing jobs in the Logan Lake area, Kamloops area, supporting families in that region, and all of the knock-on support and economic activity that follows from that. Those are just two projects. We have 11 mines in the Northwest that will benefit from the North Coast Critical and Conservation Corridor initiative that we're working on in partnership with the Tahltan and other First Nations in the region. We have major economic initiatives with the private sector that will, I am expecting within the next 6 to 12 months, demonstrate tens of billions of dollars of investment in the BC economy. In just the last week, we've had two announcements reflecting a significant capital investment in our province and the location of the largest company ever in the history of our province right here in Vancouver where I stand. The benefits of these projects flow across the province and they flow directly into government books to assist with balance, but also with delivering the services that British Columbians depend on.
Next, we'll head to Katie DeRosa with CBC. Go ahead, Katie.
Premier, can I ask you about two things coming out of Ottawa? First, the fact that BC was passed over in Prime Minister Carney's latest housing announcement, and second, the resignation of Chrystia Freeland from cabinet, who had always promoted BC issues and BC funding, I suppose.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, and I hadn't heard whether that announcement was formalized that the Minister Freeland was leaving. I just read about it in the paper like everybody else. If in fact she is leaving to pursue other opportunities, I want to thank her for her contributions and her support over many different projects. She was a key contact for me with the federal government and a key advocate for British Columbians, and I'm grateful for her public service and the sacrifice that she and her family made in order to be able to do that work. With respect to the broad and ongoing issue and challenge and opportunity that we have here in British Columbia with the federal government making sure that resources flow to British Columbia at least on a per capita basis that reflects our population size, that we get our fair share from Ottawa. That is exactly the message that I'm bringing to Ottawa when I leave tomorrow to go visit with the Prime Minister, with Dom LeBlanc, with other key members of the administration. The other message is not just that we need a fair share of Ottawa's resources, because we are supporting provinces that are getting massive equalization payments from Ottawa that we don't get. We need support from Ottawa to be able to continue to support those other provinces. But the other component is, if you want to build a new Canadian economy, if you want to build an economy that is less dependent on the United States, you have to look west. You have to look to British Columbia. We are the only province, to the best of my knowledge, that is bringing literally more than 10 major projects to the federal government involving billions, tens of billions of dollars in investment, private sector investment in our province, that with federal support, we can get across the line. All the other projects I see across Canada require massive taxpayer investments. They are best described as public projects, not private projects. And the difference between British Columbia and the rest of the proposals is apparent because 40% of the major projects on the Prime Minister's list were BC projects. We're going to continue to do that advocacy. Look west if you want to grow the Canadian economy. Look west if you want to increase prosperity for all Canadians. Look west if you want to make sure that BC is still in a position to support other provinces and equalization payments that they receive from the federal government.
Do you have a follow-up, Katie?
Yeah, there was a lot of questions yesterday about the accounting practice of counting the bulk of the tobacco settlement in this year's finances, even though you're not going to get that money for over the next 18 years. How do we know these tobacco companies won't go bankrupt and that we won't get the rest of the money?
Yeah, Katie, and great question. You know, this is one of those incredibly challenging disputes between accountants that we face sometimes when reporting budget results. The Auditor General wanted us to report the full amount of the settlement last year before the settlement was finalized. If we had done that, my concern certainly would be that we were counting eggs before they were hatched, counting chickens before they were hatched. We know how many eggs there were. So what we did was we followed the spirit of the Auditor General's advice, that we recorded the full amount in a single year, as we've done with every other major settlement the province has received. The opioid settlement, other major settlements, this settlement is no different in terms of the accounting treatment. If we had spread it out over multiple years, we'd be accused of manipulating future years' budget numbers by assigning arbitrary values going forward. There's just no way to claim this windfall in a way that wouldn't arise in criticism of some kind or another, which is strange, because this is a massive windfall for British Columbians from tobacco companies that willfully hid the carcinogenic properties of their products from British Columbians, that caused massive impacts to healthcare bills through unnecessary cancers that they denied were connected to their products, even though they knew full well that they were. This is money that is going to support cancer care in our province, along with other vital public services for British Columbians, money that taxpayers don't have to pay coming from a lawsuit that was initiated by an NDP government in the 90s and that took almost 2 decades to be able to realize the benefit of. This is a huge victory for British Columbians. It is a benefit for the public treasury. It is holding wrongdoers to account. It is very similar to our opioid settlement. And we've got more work to do to hold wrongdoers to account for the damages they caused us and not force taxpayers to pay for them.
Next, we'll head to Rob Buffum from CTV News. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, hi, Premier. Thanks for taking my question. I wanted to return to this contract with the committee, and I just want to get your thoughts. You've explained it's 14,000, and you've got 5 speeches today, so you need the help. But what do you say to folks, including those on the BCGU picket line today, who are talking about escalating strike action at 10 o'clock? Just the optics of that, given that you do have a very large communications team, and presumably there's people who are already on salary who could help you with that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that optics, and also in terms of the budget, can you give us a time as to when you aspire to have the budget balanced?
Thanks, Rob. So we've reduced the size of the public service by 850 full-time equivalents. We've got more work to do. That reduction includes reductions in the Premier's office and in government communications. We will continue to reduce our expenditure on things that are not frontline services for British Columbians. That's my commitment to British Columbians, and that is my unambiguous message for all of those frontline BCGU employees. We value what you do is important and critical, and we're going to make sure that you're able to deliver services for British Columbians. Sorry, Rob, what was the second part of your question?
Oh, just wondering about a timeline or a date for when you aspire to balance the budget.
Thanks. The finance minister, my office, the entire public service, all ministers are working to drive down costs in their ministries. We're particularly also focusing on health authorities, finding more efficient ways of delivering the administrative services of health authorities so that they're less costly, so we can focus resources on the front line. And at the same time, you see with announcements like today, with announcements like last week around Highland Valley Copper, we are moving to grow the economy in significant ways to increase the revenue for government at a time of record low resource prices, which has a direct impact on our bottom line here in the province. So we're doing that hard work. We will continue to do that work, and we will demonstrate a path to balance for British Columbians. It's the commitment of the finance minister. It's my commitment, and that's what we're going to do.
Do you have a follow-up, Rob?
By way of, I do. Thank you. Yeah, just returning to the American connection with this project that you're announcing today, the approvals of. Just wanted to get your response to concerns that the company that owns and operates the assets project is a Texas-based company, and the observation that the export terminal is set to be built in Korea. What do you say to folks who are concerned? Those are jobs that ought to be resting in BC. And I wondered if I could also ask you, are you going to bring up pipelines with the Prime Minister tomorrow? Danielle Smith seemed pretty happy, notwithstanding no projects were in Alberta last week, but seemed to think that a pipeline might be coming.
Yeah, I think, I will certainly give Danielle Smith credit for advocacy. You would never guess that this is a project that has no private proponent, no plan, requires tens of billions of dollars of public investment to realize, both on the carbon capture side and on the pipeline construction side. And my message to the Prime Minister will be, whatever you got to do with Alberta, I get it, but let's be honest with ourselves. If you want projects that are at final investment decision or close to it, that have private sector investment, that result in thousands or tens of thousands of Canadian jobs right across the country, that are going to provide prosperity and a boost to Canadian GDP in the short to medium term, there's only one place to look, which is in British Columbia. We have brought this list forward to the federal government. We have a major project list of 19 projects about how we can deliver this. And that's not even the full list of projects in this province. The opportunity here is unparalleled. But if we got just a fraction of the support that Quebec sees, or a fraction of the support that the Canadian auto sector sees for delivering these projects, I guarantee you that we would be able to help deliver equalization payments to those provinces, as we are right now, into perpetuity while delivering high-quality services for British Columbians. I feel very passionately about this. I know it's true. I've talked with the other premiers. I've seen their projects. Nobody is in a place where British Columbia is, and the federal government needs to look west and deliver on it.
Next, we'll head to Mark Page from the Black Press. Go ahead, Mark. You with us there, Mark?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Great. Back to the project at hand here. Premier, are you at all concerned that local upriver First Nations are specifically opposed to this project because they say it could threaten salmon populations?
Yeah, part of the environmental assessment work was to ensure that the project is delivered in a way that minimizes harm to the environment while protects prosperity for all British Columbians. That's part of the work that was done. Nations provided submissions and the project was adjusted accordingly to minimize impact. There's more work to do. I'm counting on the Nisg. We're going to support the Nisg and the work that they're doing with neighboring First Nations to increase the level of support along the line. But we also have to move on these projects. They are on fixed timelines. The opportunity is a limited window. When we see the President of the United States saying he's going to build a gas-fired LNG plant using high-carbon LNG out of Alaska to serve the same markets that we intend to serve, we know that this window is limited. We are not going to stand by and let this opportunity pass us and watch, literally just down the road, the Americans build a giant plant to lower standards without the protections that British Columbia offers and deprive local First Nations, local communities, British Columbians and Canadians of $17 billion in benefits. So we got to move, but we also are committed to working with neighboring First Nations in partnership with the Nisg to be able to increase support as much as possible along the line.
And do you have a follow-up, Mark?
Yeah, so I guess, does that mean that that your government values LNG production more than the rights of these Northern BC First Nations that are still opposed to this project?
Yeah, absolutely not. You know, I think this project illustrates some of the complexities of a broad brush about just saying Indigenous people. Each nation has their own priorities, their own agenda, their own culture and history and language. And we need to work in partnership with those nations however possible to accommodate those concerns, to address those interests, and to assist them in moving forward. For the Nisg people, they are a treaty people. They've identified this project as a priority. That is meaningful for our government. And it means that we're going to stand with the Nisg for their agenda, for their people moving forward. You heard the president talk about what it means for her people. And so that also means for neighboring nations that provincial government's got a responsibility. That we need to work with the Nisg to address concerns of those nations. It's not an either or. A project like this creates the possibility of raising prosperity across the entire region and addressing longstanding concerns that other nations may have in the process. And that's what we're keen to do.
Thank you, everyone. And that concludes today's event. Thank you for joining us here at Canada Place.
Thanks very much.